Hello there. Welcome to the stream. If you're new, just tuning in, this is like part 7 of this action I've been creating. So what I set out to do was make an action in GitHub that was written in PowerShell. And I've done that. And the goal of that, if you're just tuning in, is to basically create an action that monitors for this start and end comment in like your profile or something. And my action fills in the blanks with all the HTML necessary to create sort of this MySpace top 8 recreation. So we've done that. There's still some things I'd like to add that we're going to take care of today. I'd like to do some additional testing in some edge cases that I've thought of that I want to test. And I think we can wrap up this action today. So if you have any questions along the way, let me know. Like I said, most of this action is PowerShell, except for to make the action, it requires a YAML file. But other than this, it's all PowerShell. So that's what we're going to be doing today. My first task I'd like to tackle is to figure out some way. Okay, so these 8 people are provided in the workflow that Joe Schmo makes. So in some random repository, I'm deciding I want to use this action. So I call that action and I give it my list of 8 people. What I'd like to try to figure out is some way to invoke calling upon the picture and the link and everything to the MySpace Tom. Just to honor true MySpace top 8, it wouldn't be top 8 without Tom. So, again, I've covered this a little bit in a past stream, but basically the original MySpace Tom MySpace page exists, but it's no longer being used and the profile picture has changed. So the best way I could think of to get the correct photo is he actually has a verified Twitter page with the original photo and everything. So I would like to come up with some way to denote that I want to invoke Tom in the #1 space here, but do it in a way that the way you declare Tom can't or shouldn't collide with a valid GitHub username. So some way to put some illegal GitHub character there, no GitHub user could ever have this username, but that's exactly what my script is going to look for, and it'll know to render all the HTML necessary to grab this photo, link to this Twitter page, all that stuff. So I think this should be fairly easy to do. The hardest thing about this is figuring out what characters I can use that, 1, doesn't break the YAML, and 2, I know I'm safe from a GitHub user collision, basically. So let's look at that real quick. Where I'm handling that, again, if you're new, so when someone invokes my action, it calls upon this YAML file. And all of these are defaults. These are parameters, what readme by default, it just defaults to, the root level readme where you're calling this, default commit message, default emails, blah, blah, blah. The one that's required is the users list. You have to provide that comma separated list of 8 people. So all of these parameters in YAML, the action throws that to a PowerShell session and invokes this action.ps1 file. And so here's how we're passing all those parameters. So when you pass the 8 users in an array, this is how I'm getting it from this YAML to this action file, which is really, a function. It's got parameters up here, blah, blah, blah. So let me collapse some of this stuff. Where we're handling where we would have to handle getting Tom's HTML is inside of this get current top 8 section function. So this is where we go in and we loop through, here's make the start tag, the start of the HTML for the table, and then loop through the 8 users and make, normally this is the HTML that gets thrown there. We're pointing to GitHub users. But in this case, I want to filter for, if the user coming down the pipe is this, Easter egg formatted, whatever name we want to give to denote Tom's profile, stick in this Twitter HTML basically. And I think we have to do that here inside this loop. I think, oh shoot, I forgot to switch here. Oh my goodness. There we go. Now you should see my screen. Thank you so much. In the chat, round of applause. I forgot we're on the close up. That's pretty bad. You guys don't want to see that the whole time. So now you're seeing my screen. Oh my goodness. So I was explaining, here's an example of the My Top 8. You basically just have a start comment and an end comment, call upon the action, and it will create this with their GitHub pictures, a link to their profile, etc. So it's just to recreate sort of the My Top 8 section you'd have in MySpace. And what I'd like to do is have one of these be Tom. You just have to figure out in the action, in your workflow, I should say, where you call my action, I want to create a format to invoke calling Tom that won't collide with a GitHub user. I explained all that, but you guys can see it. So thank you so much for that. Man, that's awful. 7th stream and I'm still making mistakes. So, okay, so that's where we're at. We're going to come here. This is, again, the loop that creates the HTML for the current GitHub users, but I need to sneak in here and add a, if the username that comes down the pipe is, I don't know, ** Tom 123 *, whatever we make that look like, then sneak in this, Twitter HTML basically. So the way I'm going to do that is, if I think we're calling, it's a numbers loop. So I need to say users at I is equal to, and then this will be, I'm just going to put something like, whoops, MySpace, Tom, something like this. I don't think this is legal in the YAML. We'll have to figure this out, but just as a proof of concept placeholder for now, whatever we decide this is going to be, it'll sneak this code in here, hopefully. And then I'll have to wrap this section here. That will be in the else. Oops. Okay, so if it's here, I basically want to kind of copy this, but this is going to be some Twitter stuffs. So the way this works is, this is a link to the profile. So let's go grab this Twitter link. Yeah, I'll replace this. And what's next? We have the photo. Yep. So if we click into here, open a new tab. I think this gives me like the exact name, but I think this should also work too. Let's try this. If not, we'll come and actually grab this garbage link here. I don't think this would ever change, but maybe this is more dynamic. Anyway, let's just try this one for now. We can test how this looks. Oh, come on. Man, all right. We replace this with the photo. Give it a width and height. That needs to stay there. So, okay, one more link here to his profile, and then I'll explain these links. So the first link is, if you click on the picture, it takes you to the Twitter profile. And this is if you click on the text for the username. If I come here, so I can click on the photo and it'll take me to Brandon's profile, or I can click on his name and it'll take me to his profile. So in this case, we need to take him to Twitter. So that's why I'm pasting this link twice. And we would have to change this because we don't want it to be, we would just want this to be Tom, I guess. And that should render properly. The only thing I'm questioning that will render properly is referencing the photo in this way. We may need to go and grab that garbage JPEG here. Where was that at? This one. But we can try this. Because if this ever changed size or anything, you know, this information would change or whatnot. So let's just leave it like this for now. And the next thing for me to figure out, yeah, if it matches this filter, it's this. Otherwise, it's the normal GitHub blah, blah, blah. We need to be able to keep this if it's line 3. So I think that's all we have to add for that. That's pretty simple. There's a few other features we may add during this stream, but I don't know if we'll get to them. So next is to play with the YAML of this here to figure out what sort of characters can I use to confirm that I don't run into a GitHub username. But see here, it doesn't like that I'm doing this. I don't know if there's... See, it's not yelling about that, but I don't know if you can... I would need to confirm that you can't use a hyphen in a GitHub username. And if that's the case, then this is perfect. Just something like this. I guess I could test this. Let me go and change my filter here to be hyphens. Here we go. Save. Oh, and I got rid of the test stuff. Well, none of that's required. I'm going to copy this down here. And then I want to... Oh, I'll need a README path as well. Okay, so... I can get rid of these comments, actually. Sweet, okay. I'm trying to figure out how to test this locally. If I grab all of this, yeah. Grab. Oh, I didn't grab this one. Okay. There we go. Now I need to define my users list real quick. So let me just grab all these folks. So paste here, but I'm gonna have to, oops. Grab these in quotes real quick. There we go, and now I can do this. And this will be generated top 8 section. Okay. Copy that to my clipboard real quick. And I'll just come here and preview what it looks like here. Just replace, oh, I need to replace the whole section. In preview. Okay, see this link works, but it did not grab the photo. So let's grab this link real quick and just edit it right here inside of GitHub. If we want to replace this photo with the actual garbage to the JPEG. Yep, preview changes, and there's this photo. So some way for my PowerShell to, if you put dash dash MySpace Tom dash dash, you put Tom there. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, that worked. So let's go update the code here to reflect that. Here, this link here needs to change. And again, I don't know if this is subject to change if maybe Tom ever changed the photo for that Twitter account, if that link or anything would change. So just an issue we'll have to deal with later if people are actually using this. Again, that assumes people actually use this. So, okay, we added this to the loop, which is up here. And this did work. Put him at number 1, skipped this. It did this correctly on line number 4, technically. So I got this. This all works. Yeah, okay. So we're going to save here. This is already done. Let me get rid of this. There we go. I'll have to come in here and clean up a bunch of comments and make a bunch of comments as well. But for now, okay, everything's saved. So let's just say something like that. So this will push up to here. Again, I don't know if I've been doing this right. I should be able to, and this is something I haven't figured out yet. Where I'm calling the action, and if someone in the chat knows, please let me know. I should be able to, instead of invoking a specific version, I just want to use the action, whatever the current main branch is, or a branch name, or whatever. In my case, since it's a new repository, it's main. And so I thought I should be able to come in here and do something like this. Is that a thing? No. That's how you call the action version. It's one branch, it's the main branch, and I thought I should be able to do it that way. And the reason I think that is because if we come to my profile, I come here, whoops. Let's go to my blog. I think on my profile, I use an action that pastes my blog post links. Yeah. And so when I use his, yep, at master. I assume that's the branch name, but I thought when I tested, if I did main like this, it just didn't work. But let's try this. I'm invoking MySpace Tom. Make this change, and then I want to come and run it. See if it actually does everything. But I thought this used to yell at me. 13 minutes ago. Oh, here we go. This works. I don't have to keep publishing new versions and then updating my reference. Well, I thought I tried this and it didn't work, but see if it works now. Oh, I think that worked. Oh, sweet. Then I don't have to keep publishing. I don't know why. I thought I tried this at the beginning you know, I'd have to go and let me come back to my top 8.
Now with Taco Bell's app, you can build a box.
Here we go. I had to come and make a new release every time, you know, 3.4, 3.5. Come in here, update the reference, because I thought I tried this way of referencing the action and it didn't work, but looks like it works now. That makes this a lot easier. And now to test this, we go and see if Tom is number 1. Awesome. Super simple. And I don't think anyone can ever have a profile named this. I know one doesn't exist, but let's see if there's a list of illegal characters that they give us. Is this in Minecraft? What? Oh, this is not GitHub. Okay, it's just an issue. GitHub invalid username or password. This isn't what I want either. I'm probably good. This isn't what I want either. Changing your username. Maybe this will give you a list of when you change it. Shoot, you can use hyphens. I guess I could go test this myself. Where was this? Settings. Where did this take you? Account, change username. Change username. I can test this. Can only contain alpha characters, single hyphens. Okay, then I'm good. I can't do a double hyphen, apparently. Okay, then I'm good. That's a perfect one. It works in the YAML. Great. So that's a protected way to invoke using MySpace Tom is with the double hyphens. Perfect. Okay, that's done. Let's come back here. Since this works, let's jump into some testing. So I want to test what happens if you don't provide 8 people or if you provide 12. So let's get rid of 3. So we don't have enough. Let's see what this does. I actually think that this will still work and there will be some empty stuff, which will be bad. But I haven't tested any of this, so we don't know until we try. Let's run a workflow. So what I'm thinking is in my code here, I'm only testing to see that's not what I want. It's up here. So I'm only testing to see if they're greater than 8. Maybe I should see if they're not equal to 8. That would take care of less than or greater than. 5 minutes ago. Nope. Oh, this passed quickly. Okay, it overwrote. Let's see what this looks like with too few people. Okay. I don't want this to happen. It's supposed to be 8. But this isn't even bad. What if you just want 4? Like I just want these 4 people. I mean, you can use this for whatever purpose. Here's my top 4 favorite followers. Yeah, it's supposed to represent, the MySpace top 8. But if someone has a genuine use where they want to use less than 8, I guess they would just have to use 4 to make it look pretty. This doesn't look good, but I don't think it's up to me to stop somebody from doing this. I just don't want my script to break if there's more than 8. So I may be able to leave this. The other thing I thought of, instead of, if I want to put the restriction, you have to have 8 every time, no excuses. I thought if someone accidentally provides 5, just fill the rest with Tom. That way I always have 8 and it's just funny, whatever. But I don't think I want to do that. I don't know. I'll have to think on this. Do I want someone to be able to use my action like this, or should I force everyone to use 8 people? Like, let's say I move this down to 4 people. Blah, blah, blah. Let's commit this. Sorry for the lack of messages, but that's okay. Run this again, and if we just come here, and I guess just refresh a bunch, it'll get rid of this 4th row. But I wonder what it's going to do to the bottom table. If this will just shrink up, or what this will look like. Because I only loop as many times as there are users. Yeah, see, this seems okay. If someone wanted to use this like this, that seems okay to me. It just has a maximum of 8. Yeah. I think I'm going to leave this for now. Now, next test is to obviously throw more than 8 at it. Let's test that use case. Let me just copy this same list here. Give it way more than 8. Same format, everything's good. Gosh, this is so nice being able to reference the main branch of the action. I swear I tried that before and it didn't work. Which is the reason I have all these releases out here. Because I had to make a new release, go and update the reference to that release. The only reason all of these exist is because when I referenced at main, it didn't work. But now it just works, I guess. So this should fail. Or at least I should see a message in the log saying can't have more than 8 people. And I think throw. So it should stop the script. Great. Throw, you need more than 8 users, and it doesn't commit past that. You need no more than 8 users. Okay, so that works. We're good. So we figured out we're going to let people use less than 8. If they want to use 6, they'll have to deal with it being ugly. Ideally, they would just use 4. And then we've tested more than 8. We've tested Tom. There's going to be no GitHub username can be -- anything. So this is safe. This works. I think we're ready to publish this. Yeah. See if I have anything locally. Did I change this at all? Okay. The other thing, I don't know if maybe this will just be a feature for later on, but I thought last time to maybe have someone be able to specify, like, what if this is just too big? they want them smaller. Like they should be able to say, you know, size percentage 70%, and this would shrink it a little bit. Because I have hard coded into these photos, which is really what makes up the size of the table. I think the table just auto sizes to the photos. So if the photos were smaller, the table would be smaller. So 70%, these are hard coded in to be 145 by 145. So I would just calculate 70% of that and shrink the photos that much, or just deal with it like this. And I think for now, this is fine. That can be a feature for later. So what are we at? Half hour. Sweet. Let's come here and I'm going to write up a official non-alpha release of this. Well, I don't even need a release because people can just @main the repository. I technically don't even need a release. Well, let's do it anyway. It's only one category, whatever. Tag version 1.0. Describe this release. I don't have a description somewhere. Nope. MySpace top 8 section on. Oh, I'm gonna pause this. I thought of one more test that I thought of at the beginning. What if I've got a sub README? Like, ideally, someone would use this on their profile, and it defaults. This is the root README of the repository. But let's say I've got a nested nest1, nest2, readme.md. Here, I'm going to have the same stuff. Just put this here. And this is in the test repo. Yep, so I'm just going to commit this. So here's a README, and I want it to show up here. So I'm going to go and change that action real quick, my workflow, to tell this action. I'm going to need to get rid of these puppies. There, now we're back to 8. And I believe the parameter is, what's it called? Yep, README path. So then I say README path is dot whack nest1 nest2 readme.md. So they can specify whatever README that they want. They could have, 4 of these workflows in the same repository with a unique set of top 8 on 4 different READMEs in a repository. Right now we're just testing 1, but yeah, that failed because we had more than 8. So let's run a new one. Because I want this to work. It should just default to your profile. You don't have to specify it because your profile is the root README and it'll work every time. But if someone has some special case where they want to have this on a nested README or something, not the parent one, that should work. And you just have to give it that extra path. Looks like it's going to work. It's very cool. Okay, nest1, nest2. There it is. Perfect. That's exactly what I want. Yep, we're ready for this. I just wanted to make sure I had that tested. So on any .md file in your
Now with Taco Bell's app, you can build a box filled with your favorites for just $5. Personally, I go with the
Oh, sorry about the ad.
You mean Crunch Wrap Supreme. Plus that
We'll just have to deal with it.
burrito and-
Perhaps you meant
Taco Bell.
grilled.
Okay.
Nacho cheese sauce.
Nah, you got a vibe with cinnamon
So we have this.
You with Taco Bell's $5 build your own cravings box.
This defaults to the
Taco Bell app. Must make selections from predetermined menu items and limited participating users.
readme.md at the
Taco Bell app only. Contact
root of
and participation which vary. Drinks exclude freezes, tax extra.
you can specify any I guess any file. This doesn't have to be a markdown file. This could be a script technically, and it'll find the start and end section, replace it, push it back up. So I'll just say, yeah, you can specify any file in your repo as long as it contains the let me paste those in real quick. I know this is not very PowerShelly, but I want to get this action finished. Yeah, Taco Bell sponsors this video. That's funny. Okay, let's paste this and this. And I am worried that these are going to show up because this will render this as markdown, and these are markdown comments. So I'll have to figure out. Yeah, this needs to be code. Whoops. And I think I would just want to, I think it's just this to escape. Nope. Oh, if it's code, it'll load these. Yeah, that's all I need. Sweet. As long as it contains the following comments in your repository workflow file, you provide a delimited list of 8 or less users that you want to make up your top 8 section. Here's an example workflow that will run every hour. Let me just go and copy this whole workflow. I need to switch up the names though. I need to put, just because this will look better. So let me grab these folks. Oh, I need the whole thing. Whoops. I'll stop at users list because that's not required. And that should render as just a chunk of YAML. There we go. Perfect. I want to change MySpace to. I got a new GitHub follower today. I want to sport them. Here we go. Oh, there's no photo, but at least you get your username out here. That's not where I want to go. I want to come here. We'll put you there. This will be. You know what? I better put myself up here because I'm cool. And that'll do it. We'll get rid of that comma. Whoops. There we go. Let me preview this real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I cannot count. Okay. I'll just take him off the end. He's already in there. Okay, there's all 8. And then I'm also going to want to have what this table looks like. So let me come in here and rerun this. So that I can get the table, and I'll paste that code there so they can see. If you have an action that looks exactly like this, you will get this in the README. Okay, that's committed. So how's everyone's week going? I had a car explode in my driveway this week, so it's been eventful. And that was something else. Okay, so this is running. We'll just wait for this to update. And once it does, I'll go and just grab all the HTML behind the scenes. There we go. Let's grab something like this. The above so I just want to paste the code as is. That will render just like it renders in the markdown on your profile. I just want a very thorough description. Yep. The above workflow will render this table. And that's it. Just a description. People can just, nothing about this is special. They can literally copy and paste exactly this. And just, switch up the users. Poof, it's working. The only thing I'm not explaining in here is how to set up this workflow anyway, but if you're using an action, you should know that that's where your workflows live. .github, whack, workflows, whack, whatever file you want. So, I think we're good. This is a published action, version 1.0. Thank you to my followers. Tyler doesn't follow me, but he's cool, so he gets to be on here. And here's Tom. This is a pre-release. Publish release. Thank you, Google. No way, it's labeled latest as well. Huh. I wonder if this action ran. I'll have to oh, sweet. I'll have to show you guys what this is in a sec. This is something I was messing with in my own time outside of this. Awesome. Okay, now somebody, instead of, okay, brain work. Instead of referencing the main branch, because I can push code up and main might break, but the release itself won't. What that what I have here is like someone has an action called latest tag, and when you publish a release, it automatically will strip latest off of any other release and add latest to your newest release. So then I can reference the latest tag. So main might break, and that's where I can test, but people should grab the latest like this. And then they never have to change this. So I wonder if I can go into the release itself and change that reference. Sweet. See, it's tagged latest up here automatically. Okay, edit release. And all I'm going to do is in my example, I'm going to change this to be latest. But I didn't know that that automation piece worked, automatically tagging this latest, until I tried it. But so basically in the My Top 8 repository, I have, you know, exactly what I made. Someone else made an action that automatically does this. And I'm just invoking, I check out the repository, and then I run this guy's latest tag action, and it's automatically going to look for, it's triggered when I release, and it's a published release. And I did publish it. So this worked. Cool. Great test. So let's take a look at this. I think we can go into the marketplace, which is where all the actions live, and search for My Top 8. There it is. I just need a picture or something. Yeah, very cool. Oh, and I'll need to update this README as well. Darn. Honestly, I think the description that I put for the release itself is good enough. So let me just go and copy all this. Oops. Copy that. Let's come back to top 8. Edit the README. Oops. There we go. That's good enough. Update README with content. There's not really anything there before. Okay, so now when people come to the My Top 8, this is what they see. Just a quick, you know, example, blah, blah, blah. And it also looks like if I go back to where we found this in the marketplace, oh, looks like I got to research for it. It'll also display all that stuff because it's pulling from the README of the repo. Perfect. This looks great. Awesome. We're done. We've got an action. I guess the next thing is, if this isn't good enough, I could go and make a blog post on how to use this just to, I don't know, get it out there. No one's going to know about this unless I advertise it or whatever. So here's this. And we're done for now. Unless, yeah, like I said, unless there's feature requests that come in, you know, if you have any ideas. I think the percentage size is a good feature, but I'll let somebody else make that. You just come in here, make an issue, you know, new issue, something like this, feature request, variable, table size, oops, percentage, you know, make an issue like this, describe what you're talking about, and we'll look into making that, adding that feature to the 1.1 release or whatever. So we're done with this. We're done with this project. It's done. It's my first action. Very cool. Completely written in PowerShell, except for it's invoked with YAML. And this took, if you guys followed along, this took some wrestling with how to get what the users or the action provides my PowerShell script for these parameters, getting that into the PowerShell script itself. Man, I was so frustrated. But it's all working now, so we're good. But yeah, we're done. Very cool. So what's up next for the stream? I wanted to start with this project because it was the only idea I had at the time where I started from nothing, where I had nothing built, just working through a problem. From scratch, you know, you follow along. You learned a lot more than just PowerShell in this first project. You learned about GitHub and a little bit of YAML formatting and some other things. But again, the purpose of this stream is to, at least initially, do PowerShell things, teach PowerShell, go through techniques and things about the PowerShell language that may be difficult. So that's where I really lean on questions. I'm just going to go through some code basically, and your questions will really drive the content of the stream that I make. And so a good starting point for me is I have 2 modules out here that are in the PowerShell gallery, admin toolkit and help desk. And these are modules that, because they're in the PowerShell gallery, you can just type install module admin toolkit, for example, and you will download that module. And so there's lots of stuff here. Same with help desk. This one specifically is centered towards the help desk role. Is someone in, IT support. There's a lot of, unlock accounts, reset passwords, look up computer information. Is someone locked out? Stuff like that. But also just learning like how a module structure is. Like, how do you build a PowerShell module? What's the format that you should use, can use? What are some best practices? Like, I have a directory here for functions, public and private functions. I also create some of my own tab completion for my own commands, which is a really cool technique to use. So we can go over how in the world do you create your own tab completion for your own commands. So we can go into all kinds of stuff. And so my thought is to just go through some of these functions and just sort of learn as we go, explain what's an advanced function. This get days until function, like how let's manipulate some dates. This basically says how many days are there until, December 25th of this year of 2021. And it'll tell you, that's 200 blah, blah, blah days. Let's do that real quick. Get days until 12/25/2021. It's 310 days till Christmas, folks. So in PowerShell, when I type this command, because I have this module installed, PowerShell goes, I don't have that command imported. Let me check all the modules that are on this system to see if I can find that command somewhere. And it automatically goes through where modules install and finds, I found a get days until function definition in this module. Let me import help desk real quick. So it automatically, just by typing this command, it's going to automatically go and import the module and then run it for me. I don't have to manually import it. So all that happened behind the scenes with PowerShell. It takes in this date and gives me, the output. So, but how do I come up with all this? And there's more to PowerShell than just knowing PowerShell. There's also like learning how to research things and how to struggle through stuff about PowerShell that you don't understand. So this is all supposed to be helpful to anybody that is watching, that wants to learn more about PowerShell. Obviously, all my stuff's in GitHub, so just more about the open source community and contributing to GitHub projects and things like that. This is supposed to all be helpful. So a couple points on that. Some of the foundational things that I've discussed, how do you build a module? How do you make a function? That's basically, so I started a blog about a year ago, and those were my first blog posts. 2 ways on how to make a module, how to make functions. So if we come over to my blog, come down here and click on archive, this will take you to all of them. So I've got one on, great, you've written a bunch of functions. Now, how do you organize those into a module? So I've got part 1, and part 2 goes a little deeper. This is just the bare minimum that you need to make a module. Great. Part 2 is more advanced, getting a structure. If your module is going to be really big, you want some sort of method of organization. Basically, if you got, 300 commands, holy moly, how do you handle all that? So this just gives it some structure. This one, the basics of making a function. Again, what's the bare minimum that you need to make a PowerShell function. What is a function, and how is it better than a script or a file or whatever? The next blog post I think I'm going to make is how to build a PowerShell module. And if that's too, maybe that's too complicated to start with, but building a module is, at a high level, the structure of this module is, since all of my commands live inside of their own files. So the way I have this structured out is I have functions, public, and here's all the public commands. Each one of these files has the function defined therein. And so the way the module imports, it goes, let's say you type new password, for example. That's the command we just looked at. Let me make this bigger. Holy smokes, that's small. New password, great. Again, it automatically went out here. Well, help desk was already imported, but if it wasn't, it would go import that module, run the command. Before I learned how to build a module, what has to happen is the way modules are imported is with this PSM1, stands for module, I guess. And what I'm doing in here is I'm saying, give me all of the files, all the PowerShell files in the public folder. And I'm dot sourcing them. And dot sourcing basically is like copy and paste the content of that file into this session. So it's just, it's going through all 30 files or whatever it is, copy, paste, copy, paste. That's just for the public ones. And then once it's done copy and pasting all those individual files, then we grab all of the files in the private folder. Copy, paste, then we go to the arg completers. That takes time. It takes time to loop through and go and grab a file, load the contents, pull it back out. So what building a module does is you do all of that copy pasting ahead of time. You sort of build this giant monolithic single file that has all of the files themselves already copy pasted in. And what that looks like is, we go to the PowerShell gallery, we can look at the code for help desk, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let's go to file list. So notice this is the whole module. It's just 3 files. This is the module, and this is some NuGet stuff. But if we look at this PSM1, my build process has already copy and pasted this in here. And then this is from another file. This is from a third file. This is from a fourth file. And you just get this giant singular file that has all of those contents already in a single file. And PowerShell loads this module just lightning fast when it's built like this, compared to if they're all still separate and spread out like this. So I just finished that pipeline. Well, I've had the pipeline for a while. It lived in Azure DevOps. I migrated it into GitHub. So now GitHub, in the spirit of, making this action and having workflows in GitHub and whatnot, I have migrated that build process into GitHub. So now when there's new code, so if someone makes a pull request or I push code up here, GitHub in the GitHub ecosystem is going to build and do versioning and run my 500 tests. And only if it passes everything, it's going to publish it to the PowerShell gallery. So that's a whole thing. In like 5 years into my PowerShell learning career, I learned how to build a module, and it's like the coolest thing ever. So it would be cool to have a new person exposed to a concept like that early on, because I didn't even know that was a thing you do. You just deal with your module loading for 5 seconds. Instead of when it's built, it takes like, 11 milliseconds or something. It's seriously so much faster. So there's all kinds of like concepts like that I'd love to go over in future streams. We're about to end this one, but I'm just giving you a preview of what this stream is going to kind of be about going forward. Again, your questions will take priority over anything I have planned. If you want to learn more about arrays or hash tables or just a PowerShell question, how do I get started? What are some beginning concepts? Yada, yada. Send me a message. I'm on Twitter. Obviously, you can whisper me on Twitch. I have Facebook, LinkedIn, all the things. let me know. And that will be, what we talk about. So I'm going to call it good on this one. We made our first action, and that was really fun. It's published. Version 1.0 is out there, and it works. We did some testing. I'm sure we could be more thorough if we really sat down and figured out what are some more edge cases, but it's a pretty simple task that we're doing. So I'm happy with the amount of testing that we've done. We also have this Tom Easter egg. I'll probably try to write up a blog on this as well, just to get it out there. How to use this. So, okay, I'm going to end this here. Thank you guys so much for joining. Follow me on Twitch. I see this stream, Brett Miller, followed me on Twitch. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Also, the PowerShell Live. Oops, is that my... Oh, that's not me. Well, there's a PowerShell Live Twitter account. Maybe that's not the Twitter. Here we go. PowerShell Live, Twitch. This will give me the Twitter link, but there's a Twitch account called PowerShell Live, and it is automatically going to tweet when a whole host of people that stream PowerShell content go live. I wonder if it's here. No, they do not have the Twitter link for this. Anyway, there's a Twitter link out here for this. Discord, Slack. Anyway, it's out here. So go follow this channel. Go follow them on Twitter if you can find them. When any of these people go live, again, it posts it, and then you get all kinds of PowerShell content from all kinds of PowerShell people that are streaming. The automation for this has been broken for a long time, but recently it was taken over by, I can't remember who it is. Someone came, took over this project, fixed the automation. So when I went live today, there was a tweet about it. And so it's so cool to see that automation back up and running. Promotes the PowerShell community and all these people that stream, if they stream anymore. I know Tyler still does. Tyler Leonhardt, he was on the Microsoft team for the Visual Studio Code PowerShell extension. So obviously all PowerShell work there, but since then he's moved from the PowerShell extension team to just working on VS Code as a whole. So he still streams and is doing cool things. But anyway, here's a good spot to stop. Thank you so much for tuning in, and yeah, have a great rest of your week. Stay warm. And hopefully you're doing okay with all these power outages and everything that's going on. So, okay, let's end this here. Thanks so much. Have a great one. See you next time.